variable. Include your notes there, include our steps in your notes. Okay, we're going to go ahead and fill it in. We're going to box our variable and draw the line down the equal sign. Get your variable on one side and the number on the other. When we're getting like terms together, we must move a number over the line. We must use the opposite operation. And then we're going to either be adding or subtracting for this step. And then we're going to end up solving by multiplying or dividing. So our first example here, we have 9m plus 2. 9m plus 2 is equal to 4m minus 18. So I'm going to draw my line down the middle here. Now when you do these with variables on both sides, you can choose to move them on whichever side you want. I always try to make sure I don't have negatives in there. So in this case, my 4m and 9m, I'm going to move my 4m to this side. And I'm going to go ahead to get rid of it. I'm going to subtract 4m because it's a positive 4m. So subtract them. Bring down my, so it's 5m plus 2. And then bring down your negative 18. Subtract my 2 now. That way I'm getting my variable by itself. That's negative 20. Divide by 5. M is equal to negative 4. Let's go ahead and check it. We'll plug it in. So 9 times negative 4 plus 2 is equal to 4 times negative 4 minus 18. 9 times negative 4 is negative 36 plus 2. 4 times negative 4 is negative 16 minus 18. Negative 36 plus 2 is negative 34. And then negative 16 minus 18 is a negative 34 because I'm adding the opposite. That checks and it works. Alright, number 2, we have negative 15 plus 6b is equal to negative 8b plus 13. I'll draw a line down the middle. So in this case, I'm going to get rid of my negative b's by doing a plus 8b. So plus 8b. So negative 15 plus 14b. Plus 13. Go ahead and add 15 to get rid of that. And I get 14b is equal to 28. Divide by 14 now. And b is equal to 2. Let's go ahead and plug it in to check to see how it is. So negative 15 plus 6 times 2 is equal to negative 8 times 2 plus 13. Negative 15 plus 12, negative 16 plus 13, and I get negative 3 equals negative 3. So yes, it checks and it does work out. Alright, variables on both sides, you're also going to see some word problems that have to do with this. And these are probably a little more difficult to do, but we can use variables on both sides to go ahead and solve them. So for problem number 3, Beth leaves home on her bike riding at a steady rate of 8 miles per hour. Her brother Ted leaves home on his bike half an hour later. He rides at a steady rate of 12 miles per hour. How long after Beth leaves home will Ted catch up? Okay. So we're going to go ahead and say Beth. She travels at 8 miles per hour. And she's going to leave home. And it's going to take her a certain amount of time until Ted catches her. Okay. So in the end, Ted and Beth are going to ride the same amount of distance. We're just trying to figure out how long it takes them to ride that distance. So we're going to give Beth a variable of, let's do t for time. Because it's how fast they're going times how long it takes them. Okay, then we have Ted, who's going at 12 miles per hour. And it's going to take him not the same amount of time as Beth, but he's going to be a half hour less than her because he's leaving a half hour later. So we're actually going to do her time, and we're going to minus half an hour. Okay. So we're going to use this information right here together to go ahead and figure out our equation. One side of our equation is going to be Beth. The other side is going to be Ted. Okay. So to find out Beth's distance, we're doing 8 miles an hour times her total time. And then Ted, we're doing the same, which is going to be equal to the same distance, is 12 miles an hour times his time, which is Beth's time, minus the half hour. So our equation is 8t equals 12 times t minus half. So to go ahead and solve our equation, I'm going to go ahead and distribute out. So I get 8t, and then I get 12t, and then 12 minus half, or 12 times negative half, is going to be negative 6. Now I go ahead and, let's go ahead and move my t's to one side there. So I'm going to do minus 12t. Okay. And I get negative 4t. And then over here, I can bring down my negative 6, and I have negative 6 there. Okay. Divide by negative 4, and I get t is equal to 6, negative 6 over negative 4, which if I then simplify it is going to equal 3 over 2, which is then goes to 1.5. So t is going to equal 1.5 hours. Okay. So if Beth travels 1.5 hours, that means Ted's going to travel 1 hour. Okay, and my question is, how long after Beth leaves home will Ted catch up? The answer is 1.5 hours, because that's how long it took Beth to go. Now I can check to see if this works by plugging it into my equation here. So I'm going to go ahead and do 8t, so 8 times, we'll do 3 over 2 because it's going to be easier to work with, is equal to 12 times, and we can do 1.5 with this, minus half. 8 times 3 is 24. Divided by 2 is 12. Then I have inside the parentheses here 1.5 minus a half is 1. 1 times 12 is 12. 12 equals 12. So it takes Beth 1.5 hours before she's caught by Ted. Okay. All right. So you guys have some practice problems to do. You have 2 with your variables on both sides, and then you have a word problem just like the one we did above. Go ahead and check to see how you did. Alright, number 1, you guys should have gotten x is equal to 16. When you go ahead and check it, you should get 68 equals 68. Number 2, you should have m is equal to 5. You should have, when you check it, 34 equals 34. And then number 3, we have car A and car B. Car A is going at 50 miles per hour, while car B is going at 60 miles per hour. Car A leaves, and then car B leaves an hour later. So we're going to do x for the time for A, and then x minus 1 because it's an hour later for the time car B. And so we go ahead and figure out our equation there. 50x equals 60 times x minus 1. And again, we go ahead and solve it, and we get x is equal to 6. So car A is 6 hours, car B is 5 hours because it's 1 hour less.